Hey guys, this is We Demand Parachutes, and you are listening to As the Story Grows.
Welcome to the next chapter of As the Story Grows. I'm Brian Patton. This week, Kevin, Ben, and Seth from We Demand Parachutes join the podcast. I talked to the guys back in June, right before they dropped their single, Lost Her Mind. The guys talk about their musical collaboration, which began at an early age, the long trajectory to get to We Demand Parachutes, how Kevin's military career inspired the band's name, and the importance of bringing talented friends into the fold. Lost Her Mind had all the makings of a summer smash hit, and even as we head into fall, the song should be in your rotation. So check it out and enjoy my conversation with We Demand Parachutes.
I had a girl and she died. She couldn't stand me and took a high dive. Told all her friends that she lost her mind. Just another one along for the ride. Oh. I've been good for 6 months and I swear it, but the next one's got me checking my shoulder just over and
I think legitimately the first kind of exposure I had to like really being into music was when I was in like 4th grade, and I was at Happy Wheels, which is this like indoor roller rink in Maine, and it was like some little kid's birthday party or something, and the guy who worked at Happy Wheels, who was like the DJ, put on All the Small Things by Blank, and like he must have turned that shit up to like 20. Like kids were like falling over, like getting off the ring, and I just remember being like, this fucking rocks. Like this is awesome. So ever since then I've been into fucking rock music, and yeah, that's pretty much it right there.
Shu, you want to go?
Yeah, sure. So like I remember like just banging on pots and pans and stuff like that as a kid. And then I was like, oh yeah. And then like my parents bought me one of those like little Tyke drum sets.
Nice.
And upgraded to like a real kit when I was like 6 years old, and was on it ever since. And then Kevin and I started playing the music together when we were real young, like 7 or 8 years old. And then we met Seth later on, and yeah.
I mean, I have vivid memories of like when I was really young. My dad had a 6-disc CD changer in his car, and one of the in the days of CDs and CD changers. So don't let that go by. But he had Paul Simon's Graceland as one of the albums in the CD changer, nice. And the song "Call Me Al" by Paul Simon. Like these guys know to this day that's the only song I'll do for karaoke. They've seen it happen more times than they care to count, and it's embarrassing every time. But I love it. But I would make my dad run back like Graceland and "Call Me Al" on repeat. The point my dad's like, "You want to listen to something else? You want to listen to like a different album? Like anything, literally anything? Like you want to listen to talk radio, sports, something?" I was like, no.
Most of the
Paul Simon, "Call Me Al." Let's go. And then then we basically like from there, I started playing guitar in like the 7th grade. I met these guys shortly thereafter, and like I was playing in one band and they were playing in one band, and we like always got along, and like we'd play shows together and kind of be like, "Oh, you open for me, I'll open for you." You know, playing in people's living rooms and opening up mosh pits in people's basements and shit. Nice. And then eventually, be like, I wasn't really playing with anybody at the time, and they needed somebody to come and fill a slot. And they're like, "Yo, do you want to come make some music with us?" It's like, hell yeah, I do. So we started playing music together then, like, by what, 12 years ago now, guys? Something like that. Man. Like 12, 15 years
Something
ago.
Like
and
that,
it's been a while. Doing it ever since. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah. Ben, you said you and Kevin have been playing since you were like 6 or 7, like?
Yeah. We grew up together, and we've been playing music. And then when we were in, I think, late in high school and stuff like that, it was we met Seth, and yeah, it's been a while for sure.
That's wild. So has We Demand Parachutes been like this project for a while, or has it gone through iterations?
So it's actually sort of a newer project. Like when we were stuff, like we always kind of found each other like in various groups we were playing. Like sometimes it was me and Ben, sometimes it was Seth, me and Ben, like all kinds of different amalgamations. And then like when college kind of rolled around, we all ended up kind of going separate ways. Seth went off to Berkeley. I ended up I went to university and then joined the military, and was I was a Green Beret for 6 years in the U.S. Army. And when I was deployed one time in Africa, like I just was like, man, something is just missing. Like I don't have that creative outlet that I've had my whole life, and like really felt like I needed to jump back into music. So I started sending ideas just like off the cuff to these guys, like really rudimentary stuff too, like voice notes and like, you know, some stuff I had generated in like Logic. But you know, we just kind of like try to start to write together again. And that was about, I want to say that was like 4 years ago. We released our first music as a band in 2019. So
2015 was like the first like Ableton session generated. It was 2015, and then we wrote our first song together 2015. Like 2015, 2016, and finally started putting stuff out in 2019.
Wow. Wow, that's a long progression to get to releasing stuff.
Yeah, a lot of trial and error, you know. Just like, a lot of trial and error. You know, just like we like wrote a lot of stuff. Not everything stuck. You know, tried some different things, tried some different, you know, would pass ideas around. But something that made it kind of tough in that era was that we were a little bit more scattered at that point. It was like Ben was in Rhode Island, I was in New York, but like we were both a lot less mobile just because we were a lot more we were young, right? We were like early 20s. We were like tied pretty heavy to our jobs. And Kevin was in North Carolina at that point. And it was just hard to get together, you know, like we would try to do it as best we could. But eventually we like got together in North Carolina and we had like one song mostly done. And we, in this like 7 days together in North Carolina, we basically wrote the first 4 songs that we put out like in full, right? Like we just like, it was almost comical. Like it's like suddenly we're in the same room and we're just like as productive as possible. But for that then, it's like we literally we knocked out like we had like one song almost done. We finished that one, then knocked out 3 straight, just like off
I know I mean we really just almost entirely wrote 151 down there and recorded it, and it was almost, you know, ready to go to mixing and mastering when we finished that week together, and kind of nailed out all the different
took
pieces.
A totally different shape.
Yeah.
The upstate got its first like bones in place.
Oh yeah. So I mean, we've always done really well because we have always kind of been separate. We've done really well with kind of, you know, when we get together, we're always, you know, super action oriented and really, you know, make it happen in whatever time that we have.
It's also like I feel like we spend so much time like just passing ideas around that we're always so hungry to just like be in the same space and get together that it's just like we're like awake at 8 a.m. go and get coffee,
exactly.
Like then do it for like 18 hours straight and then rinse and repeat.
Yeah, I've got videos like on my phone that we were like tracking, and like nobody was even looking at a clock, and you just like would look at your watch, or like the sun would be coming up and it was like, oh my God, like we literally just like wrote and like recorded like all night and we didn't even like notice.
Or like pretty frequently too, it's like we'll be like working on something and like Kevin and Ben will be working and I'll be like on the couch taking a nap. Then I'll like wake up with a start and I'll like pound a bunch of Cheez-Its and like rip a coffee. And then like I'll go and like and I'll cycle in and Kevin will take a nap for a minute, just like kind of do it that way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Because it took you guys so long from like starting and coming together, did it take you a while to define your sound and figure out what you hope to sound like?
That's a good question, actually. I think like we really tried to write, like we obviously have like a lot of like pop punk roots, but I think we are trying to kind of transition into like adding more synth and more big pop hooks and try to kind of modernize the sound a little bit. So like, for the most part, I would say like 80% of it kind of comes naturally and feels right. And then that last 20% is kind of thinking about how we can take something and just tweak it a little bit more to be, you know, just that extra step further, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's right. You know, it's like a lot of the stuff comes together. It's just like guitar, bass, and drums. You know, just like there's making noise, and then like we'll actually lay something down, and then it's like we kind of get into more of the like the nuances and more of the ear candy and stuff like that, right? Where it's like we can kind of like we'll really nail it, the three of us, and like figure the form out, and then we'll start to add like the fun stuff.
Yeah. The music, the pop sensibility comes through. It's like that, was it third wave or mall wave, like emo that was big in the late 2000s or whatever it was. Like,
yeah.
Which is cool that like to see that sound kind of rotate back in, I think a little bit more now.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Yeah. We, I mean, that's what we love too. So it's like, you know, how to keep it relevant and how to keep it going and just make stuff we love. So
just another morning hungover and hung up. I gotta figure my head out. Was playing blackjack until the cops came to bust us. I don't know why you put up with me. Whoa. Cause I think I was late and I'm all up, so I called the hospital. Yeah, I'm sick and tired, always falling short of your 4-star rating. Of your 4-star rating. I'll take this ketamine if you let me.
How did COVID and the pandemic affect the band and your plans?
yeah, it was tough. We had a lot of stuff kind of on the calendar, a lot of like really exciting both live events coming up and opportunities to work with some people that we're still hoping to do. But you know, when that kind of sudden stop happened, you know, everything kind of just went to hell, and we were bummed for a while. Like it definitely got us down. But it took us a moment to kind of realize a lot of people have it way worse than us. A lot of people are, you know, in real trouble. A lot of people are really sick. We have our health, we've got our music. Let's just, you know, quarantine for a bit. And then we got together and started writing again. And our song Ketamine actually came out of that, which is kind of like, it's kind of like a song about doing drugs, but it's more really a metaphor for like when you're down and you're beaten up a little bit and it's time to just get back up and shake it off, and ended up doing really well. We got a bunch of streams on that. A lot of people really liked it. So it's a fun song, and you know, we just got to bounce back and start thinking outside the box. And that's what we've done. And we're super pumped for like everything to come back online and just have a great year.
Yeah. We bounced back fast too. You know, it's like, I think Kev was like, I ended up going into quarantine, like quarantine in Maine for a couple of weeks just to like get out of New York when stuff was getting really wild, like when hospitals were really full. My mom was bugging, and she was like, yo, like, there's like 10 people in the ICU in Portland, Maine, and there's like 10,000 people in the ICU in New York. Like if you're gonna get sick here. I was like, all right, cool. So I went up from like early April until mid-May, and like I was basically like a month into it here in New York. And by a couple of weeks into quarantining in Maine, the three of us were all just like, all right, so what's up? Like we've all been like in the house alone for a while. Kevin, pick Seth up. Let's go to Ben's house to make this thing happen. Like,
and before that too, the really funny thing was like mid quarantine, Seth was like, "Oh, I don't have my bass," and I had his bass at my house because like the last show we played, we loaded back into my house, and you know, I was going up to Maine already. And I was like, okay, well, we'll do like a drop off. So like, I rolled up to his spot and like took the bass out of the car and like left it on the porch, got back in the car. Seth comes out of the house in his underwear and is like waves and like, hey. See you, buddy. So yeah.
It was classic. It was great.
That's so funny. I want to ask about the name and the branding. It seems like that's a really important element to the band. Can you talk about where the name came from and the importance of like the branding and your logo?
Yeah, Seth, you wanna explain that one? That's your baby.
Sure, man. I mean, so like The name, I mean, the name comes from when Kevin was in the Army when he was in jump school, right?
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah. Kevin was jumping out of airplanes for a minute, right? And like,
damn, dude.
Yeah, you know, it's just like, I mean, hats off to the kid.
We could not think of a name for like the longest time. We had the sound totally figured out long before we had the name figured out. And like, we would go back and forth. And like some weeks we'd be like, I really think it's going to be this. And I was like, I kind of hate that. And then Seth, like in a joke when I was out at jump school, was just like, what if it's just like, we demand parachutes? Like, you know, us.
Yeah, no, exactly. It was like, yeah. Exactly. Because I think I made some jokes to Kevin. I was like, yo, like, don't mix up your backpack with your parachute, like some shit like that. And it's just like, it just kind of came out of that, right? Because we're just like busting on Kev a little bit. It's just like, suddenly it was like, oh, like, ding. Like suddenly had the idea and just ran with it.
And we think it describes us really well and we love it. So we just ran with it. The branding and imagery, we kind of have this like motto in our band that like it takes a village, and like we really try to bring all the talented people that are with us in our world, like in with us. Like, for example, Ben's fiance is a really tremendous videographer. Our video for Lost Her Mind is dropping tomorrow. She edited and directed the whole thing. It's awesome. My sister's a really talented designer, and she's done like all of our artwork up until now. And, you know, she has like a lot of like ideas about the brand. So we really try to think of like a collaborative like environment for when we're like creating stuff and putting stuff out. And like, we really just like to have a big team. And it's all kind of in-house, kind of local, our friends and family, and we love it.
And we always want to like kind of like the collaborative nature not only goes to the people that we work with, but like the content that we push out. Like we always want to bring everybody along for the whole ride and kind of have them understand who we are, not only as a like a musical act, but as individuals, and like, you know, who, you know, just kind of who we are and how we are. And so we think that, you know, kind of highlighting that through all the different avenues and the videos and things like that is just a really important element too.
Yeah, very much a family affair in that regard.
That's awesome. What has led to your decision so far just to release singles?
Yeah. We think like there's levels obviously to this thing. And it's like, we really feel like, we are in the phase now where we are like building the movement. We're like finding people that fuck with us. We're finding fans. We're like putting stuff out there. And like the single thing has been kind of really helpful because you can get that kind of wave thing going, and, you know, you can push content like little by little out to people, and people seem to like eat it up and really like it. Our next goal down the line is to make an album, but we kind of feel like we want to have a bunch of shows under our belt, and we want to have a bunch of kind of music out there already that people are like interacting with and liking before we jump to that next step and that next level. But it's been really fun to kind of, you know, hint at dropping something, like, you know, announce it and then drop it. And then, you know, people kind of consume it and then kind of get back in the studio and redo it again. So it's been cool.
Yeah, it's also like, it's a little bit just because we're all kind of dispersed across the Northeast. Like a lot of the stuff that we make, kind of like individual songs will sort of get created like almost in a vacuum, right? Where it's like there'll be like one idea and we'll go really head down on that one idea. Like we might have a couple that are in the works at the same time, but like they all get started in different spaces on different days. Whereas like, you know, when we sit together and work together and are using, you know, like we're just writing a bunch on, you know, the same instruments in the same space for like a week or two at a time. Like we like, you know, that's kind of the environment in which we want to make like one cohesive artistic statement. Where like, you know, a lot of the stuff that we've made as far as singles, like I don't know if like we would necessarily say that they would fit together on an album. Yeah. Because like we've made them over time, we've made them all very separately. But you know, when we want an opportunity to like actually get together in the same space for like an extended period of time and just like do what we do, and like see what comes out of that.
Do you think that was helpful in a pandemic year where it's like you can't tour, so it's just like this constant rollout of like, we got a new 100%. Single?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
100%.
And
Yeah.
I think we were already a little conditioned to it, right? Because we were already used to working in such a way that suddenly this was the way that we had to work. We can almost use it to our advantage.
The new single, Lost Your Mind, you said the video's coming out tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Friday.
That's right.
It's really cool too. I'm super pumped about it. It's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to see the video. It's awesome.
Heck yeah.
People will watch it. There's
I
a
got
twist.
to tie Kevin to a chair.
So.
It's great.
Yeah.
That was my handiwork. Kevin learned a lot about me in that moment.
That's awesome. This song musically seems to take another step forward. Like it's definitely your poppiest track, your most synth heavy track. You got the guest vocal on that. Who's the guest vocalist on the track?
Olivia Castriata,
okay,
who is a friend of Seth's from New York, who he's worked with in the past. And really, again, it kind of, this song was one that took us a long time. It was actually one of the first ones we wrote, and we loved it for a long time, but we didn't think it was ready. And then kind of the last couple months, we decided to get her on board, and it took the song to a new level. We were able to finish it. So it was really nice to have kind of our first collaboration. Really awesome working with her.
And she showed up to work too.
Oh yeah.
I remember she came, we did the vocals all in my second bedroom at my house in New York, right? She comes over and she sent me a couple ideas, and it was we kind of bounced some stuff back and forth, but nothing was super definitive yet. And she shows up and we get set up, and she just goes, "Hey, is it cool if I scream?" And I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Is it cool if I scream?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's really cool if you scream. You should definitely do that." And then the next take that she did was what we ended up using on the record.
Yeah, that scream is phenomenal. It it's so fucking great.
She brought it. She brought it in the big way.
Yeah. Yeah, because it comes out of nowhere and you're like, oh, it makes you pay attention, which is a capturing moment, which is awesome.
I had a boy and he lied. Come on out with your hands held high.
Girl, you got me, but I know my rights. You have to decide, she said.
We're gonna have to shoot this one out.
I've been keeping my head down low, 'cause I know the less you know, the better. She's coming to hunt me down.
No, and because we had it, this song kind of under our belt for a while, when it first was on the track, I remember talking to Kevin. We were like, does this fit? Is this where this needs to go? Because it was we had heard it the other way for so long. And, and it does kind of just hit you in the face, and it's awesome. She killed it.
She really did.
Yeah, that's cool. And the song's the music video's got this twist to it there at the end, and the song feels like it's got a relational twist that catches you off guard if you're paying attention, which is cool. Yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about the lyrics.
Yeah, I mean, our kind of thing was let's go further. We always kind of like to say everybody always writes a breakup song, and it's you're always the hero, but sometimes you're the villain.
Yeah.
And we just took the lyrics and wanted to almost go too far with them. I had a girl and she died. She couldn't stand me. She took a high dive.
Kevin was so awful that she offed herself because she couldn't deal with his ass anymore.
Yeah.
And I think we were on set filming that, and we were filming the bridge, which is more gratuitous vocals, I'll say. And Olivia was you're such an asshole when you sing that. And I was like, that's the point. And she was like, I know, and I love it. It's fun.
Yeah. It's great. So you're releasing this song. It's got the makings of a summer hit. Independently released, but it's definitely a great summertime playlist song.
Cheers.
Life is starting to open up. Bands are playing live. Do you guys have plans for the future and what you're doing next and shows?
Yeah, we've got
sure do, Brian.
We sure do. We've got some tentative shows that we have yet to release. We're just kind of filling the bills out right now, and those are going to be announced very, very soon. Kind of end of the summer, early fall type thing. So, super excited to get back on the stage. We've done a lot of live streams, which is fun, but obviously, just never the same thing. So, really excited to get back on stage in front of people and have fun with people. So,
oh yeah. Can't
Yeah,
wait.
as much as I love jumping around and getting sweaty on a stage in an empty room, I really prefer jumping around getting sweaty on a stage in a packed room.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've watched a bunch of live stream concerts and I'm like, it's awesome. Let's do this together.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Get us through, you know?
Yeah. Are there more singles on the horizon, or you guys looking at an album, or what's the next phase and step for We Demand Parachutes?
Yeah. We've got a couple things recorded already and a few in progress things. So definitely going to be some more singles this summer even. And we're going to continue to kind of push those out. And then the next step is probably going to be getting into a room together for an extended period of time and putting together an album.
Thanks for listening to As the Story Grows. Our intro music was written and composed by Jeremy Hunt. The As the Story Grows theme is by Bob Nana. If you like what you hear, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and give us a rating and review. If you'd like to support the show financially, you can join us at patreon.com/asthestorygrows. Be a part of our community and join the ongoing conversation over on Discord. If you enjoy this episode, share it on social media with your friends. Much appreciated, and thanks for listening.
I never felt so young and alive as when I'm diving into a tune. And now I'm learning as I listen along, and the wheels are turning, and I started a song. One good word and I'm gone. Oh, as the story grows, the more I want to know, the more I want to show you. As the story grows, as the story grows. You can create something lasting and great, something passionate and real. And I'll bring in my own good feelings, I'll sing it with meaning. Let's just attack it and never look back. It's wild and fantastic. All together at full power, we're so much better. What's that word I'm missing? If you help me, I'll listen. What's that word I'm missing? Can you help me? I'll listen. As the story grows, the more I want to know, the more I want to show